two, and they are paired up in our double semifinal coming up next here on the Prime Ticket Network. John and Patrick McEnroe against the teenagers, the challenge of 17-year-old Pete Sampras and 16-year-old Michael Chang. And that should be very interesting indeed. The McEnroes had a tournament victory in 1984 back in Richmond, and so they will be to see what they can do here against the challenge of these teenagers, the Chang and Sampras duo.
Well, McEnroe is one of the greatest doubles players in the history of the game.
That is true.
Right, so now the question is, how well does Patrick play when he's playing with his brother?
Well, you know, McEnroe, in all of his doubles championships, generally has won those championships with Peter Fleming. And then Fleming served as his coach for about a month or so, and they are longtime friends. But now John's playing with Patrick.
You know, John McEnroe always said he plays doubles in major events because it quickens his hands, quickens his reflexes, quickens his footwork. Well, now this is maybe just what he needs, but now he's playing doubles after just beating Agassi.
You know, I've always felt that it was tough for Patrick McEnroe, and he's an outstanding tennis player in his own right, playing up at Stanford, leading them to 2 NCAA championships in '86 and '88, but to play in the shadow of such a famous brother like John.
Well, let's put it this way. Have you ever heard much about John Austin, Tracy's brother, who beat McEnroe twice? I mean, you wouldn't even think the guy existed. Yet he beat McEnroe 2 times. That's tough when you're playing the brother-sister act, or brother-brother.
Patrick McEnroe is 22 years old, and prior to this match, I had a chance to catch up with him and talk to him about what it's like playing with the famous John McEnroe. Patrick McEnroe, what is it like to play doubles with John?
Well, it's a pleasure. It's to play with someone that can hit the shots that he can and do the things that he can do is really a great thrill. And when he's your brother, it makes it even more special.
You two really get along that well?
Yeah, we get along well. We have a good time when we play, and we haven't played too much together, and we've played a couple tournaments recently, and it takes a little while to get used to each other and kind of the way we are on the court, but we get along really well, and he supports me a lot.
If you goof up and miss a shot that you should make, will he let you know about it?
He won't be too bad about it, maybe a little bit, but we have fun, and we try to be lighthearted out there.
Do you use a lot of signals up there when you're going to poach and things like that?
No, we don't use any. John's never really been into that too much, so we just go and just do whatever feels natural.
When did you first start playing doubles together?
We played one time back about 5 years ago, actually, a tournament in Virginia, which we won when I was still in high school. So that was kind of fun, and we played a little bit last summer and played a tournament a couple weeks ago in Detroit.
Now, when you were youngsters and just learning this game, would you play then once in a while?
A little bit, but he's much older than I am, so he was always...
much older? All of 6 years, huh?
Actually, almost 8. Actually,
almost 8?
7.5, almost 8. And so he was so much older than me that we didn't start playing together until maybe I was about 16, then I could keep up a little bit with him.
Would you get together and play singles against one another?
Sure, we practice a lot together, and I've taken many beatings over the last 6-7 years.
Have you ever beaten John?
Maybe once or twice. Maybe I took a set, but not too often. He doesn't like to lose to his little brother too much.
You helped Stanford win the NCAA championship in '88 and again in '86. Has it always been a case of Patrick McEnroe being in the shadow of the famous John?
Well, I think one of the things that was great about Stanford was that I was more kind of my own person there and recognized for myself and for what I did for the team and for the university. And that was great for me, because certainly when I play professionally around in the circuit, I'm more known for who my brother is and for who I am, and that's natural. That's just the way it is. And but that was one thing I really liked about being at Stanford, was that I had my friends around, and I was recognized more for what I did for the team and for the other guys in the team, rather than for who my brother was.
Patrick McEnroe, you guys are in tough against Michael Chang and Pete Sampras. I mean, these kids can play.
These guys are great players, and they're people talk about the future of American tennis, and I think these two guys are definitely part of that picture, and they both can play, and it should be fun. I think we'll have a good time, and it should be a fun match.
One quick question: the future in tennis of Patrick McEnroe?
That's a good question. My mother keeps asking me that when I'm going to go to law school or something. But We'll see. I just started playing on the circuit in July, and I'm going to give myself a shot and see how I can do. I've done pretty well in doubles, and if I can do a little better in singles, then maybe I'll stay around for a little longer.
Thank you for the visit.
Thank you.
Those are the comments we got from Patrick McEnroe right prior to the start of the action here tonight at the Great Western Forum. And by the way, there is a third McEnroe, Mark McEnroe, who is in his last year at law school at Fordham University.
Well, you know what I like about Patrick? He's always handled himself well, but he never comes on and says, Mom likes him better than me, and stuff like that.
Like the Smothers Brothers.
A lot of class, I think.
Yes, indeed. I'm anxious to see how they play against Chang and Sampras. On the other hand, how Chang and Sampras can play against them, too.
Well, you know, Chang and Sampras are like a bunch of little kids. You know, they've played together twice, and they were looking forward to this so much. They were talking in the stands like they're still going to play their idols tonight.
Sure. Well, of course, one thing about Chang, he said when he goes up against the veteran players, he said, I am never intimidated by any of the greats. And he's just 16. It's a great statement for him to make.
Well, he's still just happy to be alive. You know, I like guys like that. He just wants to get out there and enjoy the game. He says, isn't that wonderful? You see a couple of those volleys. He's talking like he's not in the top 20 or so in the world.
Well, we're getting ready for the match now. The McEnroe brothers against Michael Chang and Pete Sampras. And we'll be back with all of the action here on the Prime Ticket Network from the Great Western Forum in Inglewood, California. Maybe 15, 20 minutes and get back out there, and you know what they say, you're only as good as your last performance.
Yeah, but that's when you've lost. But when you've won, you're pretty darn loose, and when you're playing with your brother, you know, I think you could have a heck of a lot of fun. It's something to write home about.
The big difference in playing singles and doubles, of course.
Well, not for McEnroe. He's won so many Wimbledon titles, and speaking of Wimbledon, he's made a comment he would even like to get rid of the grass in Wimbledon.
Yes,
he's still kicking up his heels, buddy.
He said that yesterday. He said, I hope that they get rid of the grass. But he did praise the English fans. He said they are the best tennis fans in the world.
Well, I'm glad he said that, because the Queen dropped dead after the first statement, and the second
rid of the grass in Wimbledon.
She came back to life.
Well, you know, he says that with the advent of the new rackets, the new tennis rackets, we're talking about John McEnroe and his comments about Wimbledon. With the advent of these new ceramic rackets, they are so quick and they are so powerful. He says the grass and the combination of the grass and the new rackets, it makes it such a quick game that the best players are no longer winning Wimbledon.
Well, I find it's an inverse relationship. As the ball seems to go faster as you start getting older. So when you're coming closer to 30, it looks like the balls are coming off twice as fast as they used to. So I'm not so sure that that's a valid argument. Maybe it is for him. I think the fact that the grass was bad at Wimbledon, and more across the country now, you're starting to see synthetic surfaces. They don't want to have a bad bounce decide who's the best player in the world. How many people are waiting to see the match? He's going to pace himself, and that's what you do when you win.
Now, how much time will they allow him to warm up?
Well, I think they should give him at least 3 seconds.
3 seconds. Hit one and go, huh?
Well, he should be ready. I've seen him come in on a situation like this, hit just a couple balls and say, let's go.
Looks like we're getting ready to go.
Well, he's really saying, basically, I'll control this match.
He did control the first match, didn't he?
Yeah,
coming back to beat Agassi in that third set.
If you haven't seen Patrick McEnroe play, you're in for a pleasant surprise. He really plays fine tennis.
Okay, here we go now. What was that, Vic?
I said, John looks like he's giving a little look like he was tired in there. He must have taken a nap. I don't think John would like to lose with his brother. I think he'd like to send a message out to these young kids. You know, it can work against Sampras and Chang, waiting like that.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you wait,
Yes.
you wait, and you have all the enthusiasm, the adrenaline's flowing, and all of a sudden you wait, and then just about you're ready to go to sleep, he shows up.
Nice cross by Patrick.
Chang has fast hands, but above all, fast feet. Boy, he can really move.
Sampras serving.
John slams his racket down and says,
Come on, get with it.
Don't be a toad, brother. That's cute.
Remember I asked him in that little interview we had, I said, if you goof up on a shot, does John let you know about it? So he's not bad about it. And he wasn't.
Patrick sounds just like John, doesn't he? Voice.
John's voice is a little higher pitched. Yeah, right through there. Sampras up 40-30.
Nice serve by Pete Sampras. Kid shows me a lot.
Pete's just 17. His older sister, Stella, is a